Yeah, hey, sanibona. Eh, Angisahlekile kanje. Yeah, izinto ezenzakalayo eSouth Africa ziyamangaza. But ke I think it's all good. Because at some point I'm gonna have to have a wake up. We need to catch a wake up, sabantu abamnyama. We are too childish. Ngihlezi ngisho la ekhaya ukuthi we don't have any friends. Abekho abangani bethu la. You know, but you know you clever black. You'll dismiss anything because I sure abangani beni. But the reality is we don't have friends. So someone sent me a clip from a podcast here Banyabedung like to a State of the Nation. I think they were hosting Babu Ucheche Itabani there as a guest in one of their breakfast shows. Hey, what a disaster. Aye, it's the man sent. But yeah, mina ngiyabonga kakhulu because just that little section highlights something I always say and always tell you, team. We really have to think in terms of us being a nation. Ngoba sibhekene nabantu who don't take us serious. It's not ukuthi mhlawumbe basifuni because people tend to imagine ukuthi le gang iyanzonda. No, it's not that they hate you. They just don't respect you. They don't see any reason why they should respect you. And I would tell you what I think is the main reason for them to disrespect you is because angazi nibashaye. Angazi nje nibabhoma. So insizwa ziyazi ukuthi kulukhuni mawuyinsizwa ukuthi usabe umunye ulova ongakazi nje akhombise nokuthi into yakhe yagadlisisa kahle la ekhuzini emshizeni yabona nesibhakeleni. So people tend to have the thing. They are not going to have respect for you. Bengawazi kahle amagalelo akho njengensizwa. And you people sit here and daydream about fictitious events that happened in the past. Any xoxelwa yibo engenabufakazi bazo and you imagine that you did something. But the reality is if you ever did something, then they would have a level of respect for you. They wouldn't maneuver or say things anyhow. But sizothini phela abangani beni. So abangani benu ke bahamba ke lapha nabamfaka uJJ Tabani ukuthi abe isikhulumi. And essentially this is how it came out.
That when you say 30% and you cry, it means 70% is still owned by white people.
So what?
Exactly. So what? That's
So
your problem. The
what?
problem is that you think it's still 1980.
What?
It's not 1980 anymore. You have to wake up to that reality. The reality is that this country must be diverse. Its economy must be diverse. And if it's not, your walls are not going to protect you. You think that Egypt was a joke when there was a rising there and it can't happen here. It will happen here.
Bullshit.
It will happen, Rob.
Bullshit.
You and I may be dead, but it will happen.
Bring it on.
Can
Shit.
No, we'll be dead. It will be
You're acting like the ANC and the GNU. You're saying, oh, you've got to be scared of MK. The rising bullshit.
No, don't be scared
Look what
of
happened
MK.
in the can.
Yeah.
That fucking fizzled out. Rising my foot.
No.
Yeah. Angithi mangikhuluma la ngicabanga ukuthi ke le genge ngiyisukela. This is their position. This is what they think. And they can say it very proudly. Ngoba bayazi ukuthi vele angeke nenze next. Abasoze banithatha serious because you don't have a history ukubabhonya. Akunayo. It's unfortunate. This is why they can never leave South Africa, because this is where they had it the easiest. And they continue to have it the easiest. They continue to have it. No matter how intelligent you can make your argument, you see? Because nangu uTabani laphana imtshela ukuthi akeze la ngimtshela indaba zakhe, but nangu uTabani uyakhuluma laphana sounding all intellectual, all intelligent, all concise and with superior logic. And what do they say? They call bullshit. So nina-ke ama-clever backs ihlezi nginikhuza ngithi don't think ukuthi you are here to sound smart and somehow you're going to convince these people to take you seriously because you are eloquent. Your eloquence has nothing to do with it. It will never achieve anything. It will never. No nation anywhere has ever achieved a state of being respected by other nations via eloquence. All of them, they go to the trenches. Those who have never been to the trenches are dominated by others to this day. Simple. It's not a debate there. It's not a debate. So, abantu abamnyama need to stop it. Yeah, stop it. Stop going to these symposiums, zenza ngathi intelligent nabelungu, and then they embarrass you. They don't respect you. They don't. They just don't respect you. It's not just ukuthi wena as a person. No, the entire race. They don't respect it. Angilwi, but that's the reality of the situation. Angisho futhi nibazonde, no. Mm-mm. But I'm saying, realize that you are not in a place where you are having friends. It's time for you to think in terms of your own identity and nationhood, and realize that as a people, you are a nation. It's time to act in ways that are going to benefit you as a nation. Take care of your own nation. Build your own nation. Secure your own nation. Be in charge of your own nation. Then you can go and make discussions with other people and be eloquent. As long as you know where we are standing, we are secure and have a solid foundation on our own. No one can undermine us. Because leyo yokubabhonya is out of the question. Siyabasaba Nkosi yami abelungu. We are so afraid of them. Bandla siyabathanda kakhulu Nkosi yami. Hayi yabona nje bawuqhamuka ubase nje ijabula kabi inhliziyo. We have so much in love with them. We can't. There's just no way. We are never going to do anything drastic. That's the reality. But in our eloquence and cleverness, let's build our community and build systems that secure our community, whether it's food security, financial security, land, housing, all of those things, infrastructure. Let's move in that direction and stop talking to whites about things, trying to convince them, trying to make them understand that inequality is a problem. Because you go there and you talk about inequality and the revolution as if white people are supposed to understand and accept that that's what's going to happen. That they must do something about it. No. You are not in a place where you have friends. There is no nation that is going to come out and say, listen, take this money from our community and go build your own and sustain yourself. No one is going to pull you out from the bottom except people that look like you. So it's a very simple message to all the people who are in power that are black, that maybe it's time that you stop listening to your foreign national advisors and their suggestions on economic policy. They don't know what they're doing. But what they do know is they don't want any African country to become independent. So if we are taking from international advisors from the World Bank or the IMF or USAID, and you are telling them and listening to them in terms of policy and application of policy, then you are the problem. It's so dastardly strange, because you even had a situation where there was what was that famous group, Gambe, that was fingered in the state capture? There was a group coming out of England that was doing PR here in this country, and it was fingered for peddling a lot of misinformation, so they say. But that tells you, Uti, we are existing in a country whose leaders are being put like this by foreign powers. They are still caught up in thinking that their former or current colonizers can tell them something better. Unfortunately, that's not the case. It's never going to happen. So they need to get it through their skulls, wherever they are, that solutions for Africa are not going to come from the United States. They're not going to come from England. They're not going to come from anywhere outside of Africa. Africans need to be for Africans. That's the first thing that needs to happen. If you are an African, think about how do Africans benefit, not just yourself. Because that's the main issue here, is that we have an entire race of people that are just childish, who imagine that individualism can get us anywhere. Anginankinga, angilwi. I'm not against you. Angenizondi. Anginawumona futhi for your individual achievements and all those things. It's okay, but that does not help us as a nation. So we can't be caught up in that loop of a bunch of individuals who then go and sell us out to foreign powers. We can't be caught up in a loop of a bunch of individuals who think they can go and sit at the table with white CEOs and talk about what needs to happen in this country that is going to benefit black people. Obviously, you can't read the room. As intelligent as you are, definitely you can't read the room if you can go to people who survive on exploiting us. You want to talk to them about equality. You want to talk to them about diversification of the economy. The same people who survive in exploiting us. Really? I suggest, JJ Dabani really pick up a history book and stop running away from understanding history, because we are not going to get anywhere if we don't really understand our enemies. Yeah. We are not going to get anywhere if people still think they have something to discuss with people who depend on exploiting us. I mean, because how does it benefit them? How do they make profit out of sharing the economics, sharing the wealth, and making sure that there's diversification? How do they benefit? How do they stay the top earners if they allow you to access, because as I've said before, one of the biggest challenges that black farmers face is not that they can't run the farms. The issue is accessing the market. The farming market is dominated by whites, and they make it such a very serious thing to gatekeep. It's not easy for you as a black person to access the market. There's a story of the black farmers in this country, and it's insane because the agricultural department doesn't spend time really dealing with that issue for what it is. They don't present it in the committee sections of parliament. They don't talk about how black farmers are struggling to access the market. They will talk about how black farmers tend to fail. They talk about why they need to move away from cooperatives and at least go towards single farmer enterprises, which is what they're looking towards now. They're saying cooperatives are failing, wara. They don't talk about why exactly it seems that they are failing. We are dealing with seriously challenged people here who I'm not against people going to learn and get amateurs abo. It's okay, it's all good, but what is the reality on the ground is that seems to me that nifundela nje ukuyosebenzela abanye abantu, nisebenzele emndenini nonhle, nigcine lapho, which is a good thing for an individual, but you have to really think in terms of the nationhood, because the first people to suffer from all this inequality, all this unemployment is us. Amaphara mayegqekeza waqala ukuyogqekeza le la kuney'ndonga ezinde khona, they start with us here next to them. Iy'ngubo zethu kulayini ziyahamba bafuna ukuyodayisa bathenge le nto yabo, all because black people are given access to certain areas of the economy and they don't work into taking that economy and building a system for their own community. You talk bad about Indians a lot, I hear, because I was getting lift omunye ubaba laphana izolo ngiyangapha Winterton, and he was talking about his truck driving experience. He's been driving for this company, I think Mainline. He said Mainline. He's been driving for Mainline for 12 years. And, he says, yazi nje bafake once bafaka umfana weNdiya nje, hey bahlupha mandiya wara. And they once kwangena elilodwa ngena wonke manje uyabona ukuthi sesophathwa yiwona. No, I could hear what he's saying, but the lesson we are not learning is that Tina, we enter spaces and then we want to gatekeep and prevent others that look like us from coming into those spaces because you want to be the only black person in that company. And then you end up in that situation and you go there, we all call State of the Nation, a podcast, yama Afrikaners who are very racist about anything, but very rich as well. So you can't tell them anything. And you are excited to be part of that thing as a black person. and then they come and do you like that in front of the people. But it's good because you get a glimpse of what I'm talking about when I keep saying what I'm saying is that these people are not your buddies. Stop thinking in terms of inviting everyone to solve your problems, because we are not going to solve our problems. We are never going to get to solutions if we keep insisting that we need to invite people who benefit from exploiting us. Can't read the room. Seriously, can't read the room. You can't see here that you are dealing with people whose livelihood depends on exploiting us. For them, it's important to keep our labor cheap and accessible. Then you have black people who want to go and talk about that situation with the people who benefit from that situation and expect them to do something about it. Make it make sense. Like I just don't get it, because Dr. Ban, but seemingly they just can't see some of the things that they are doing are completely stupid. Just to tender the proximity to whiteness. Tender the proximity, having this proximity to whiteness, as if it does something or it's going to rub off on you. But anyway, enough about JJ. But I hope this is a lesson to all you clever blacks. Muguti, these people that you think are your friends in your private schools, they have not forgotten to disrespect you. And they don't disrespect you as an individual, your entire race. They don't take it. This is why anywhere you go, the image of black person is poverty. Go to the movies, go to wherever they need to represent an image of a black person as poverty. And that's why my view is it's going to take a particular type of dictator, because that's what we need as a people. We don't need a government. We don't need democracy. We don't need anything. We just need a proper type of dictator who's going to come in and make us do these things that we are running away from doing. And that kind of dictator would have to be extremely focused and extremely uninterested in his own selfish desires. A man that would have to be unpurchasable by the global elites. And a man who will be able to expand that particular ideology and standing throughout the continent. That is the only way Africa will ever get to any space of being decent and respect. Otherwise, we're going to continue being the poster child for poverty, being the poster child for what's going on with this network now? Yeah, we'll just continue being the poster child for everything that's bad. Essentially, that's going to be our position indefinitely, until somebody comes in and forces us into a space where we are, forced to do the right thing, stop our childishness, because we are extremely childish. It's not even a joke. I don't know why this thing is doing this nonsense, but anyway, hey. Once you start dealing with these issues, technology, you can't tell them that. sazi ukuthi ke how we're gonna overcome if we can't talk to each other. Anyway. So yeah, asimiyeke uJJ Tabane. Simiyeke nalezi inkinga zenu because I don't think you're going to be very good at hearing. Ingakho we don't have any significant amount of following. People come here, just watch and yeah, go off somewhere, and then come back when they feel like they're bored. Come back and go off somewhere, you know. But yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So don't forget that we have merchandise these days. Skupha ngoshun manje. Amasweater akhona, people. We have sweaters, we have golfers, we're gonna have t-shirts as well. I'm gonna get them done. Then I'll show you what they look like. We have hoodies. So go to our WhatsApp shop there, and then you can order whatever you want. And remember, all proceeds go towards our philanthropy projects, whether it's school shoes, school uniform. That's where my heart lies a lot, because I feel like there's a lot we can do by impacting the young ones. Yeah, we can do there and there, but I think if we can do something for Abantwana and impress on them this idea that a person like them can come in and assist them. Bazofunda nabo ukuthi masebe right, sebe udokotela, sebe yini, to go back and look for people who look like them or even do better. But yes, so let's contribute by purchasing our merchandise so that we can grow a pool, because I don't want us to depend on our enemies. I would hate to have to go and ask for money from our enemies. It's a thing. I just don't see how we can take money for our enemies, because there's always going to be a clause there. There's always going to be a cost. It's never going to be completely well. Go and do something for your people. It's not going to be free of charge, because you have to be intelligent enough to realize that for them, a black person is a source of cheap labor. It's important for them to maintain having that access. So if you are going to build a society that is going to be independent, that means you are taking away from them access to cheap labor. Anyway, so yes, so that's the merchandise. Go to our shop. I think I have the link on our description there. Check your WhatsApp, our WhatsApp shop there. Put your order. Do it during the week, not on the weekends. Thank you. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about quickly, not so long ago, I think, but is all on Maktang, where I was talking about how we are going headlong to another world war. And the way bengafuna ukufunda from amaphutha or the history. And njoba ngabe ngisakhuluma ngaleyo nto nje, it's very funny ukuthi senjalo, here I am, I bump into a few lectures zika Dr. Casagrande. I think that's what he calls it. Yeah, Dr. Roy Casagrande there. I don't know. I think it's just Providence. Yeah, I'll be talking about something, and then boom, it shows up on YouTube. Someone talking about it. I'm mentioning this because you people tend to be very tuned for ilokuza, argumentum ad hominem. So you lack this thing of looking at who's saying. It might be the same thing, but for you, who's saying it is much more important. So yeah, go. It's an invitation for you to go and take a listen to what he has to say about the history of the World War One and World War Two, how they are interlinked, all the events that took place in the lead up to, So take time to go listen to him. He should have more information around that, more than I do, because he's a scholar on that part of history. But it's interesting that some of his admissions are very striking because I knowing these people, they would not really admit those things in public. You have to be a very careful student of history to pick up some of these things that they say, some of the things that they do, which is very interesting. So go look at his lectures there. I think they should be interesting to you. I came across him as well very unexpectedly. So I haven't even done much of research on who he is, but it seems as a very good authoritative figure on the subject of history. So go listen to that guy, especially because we so go look at what he has to say. And I picked up a few key points, but I think this is most important, where he talks about nationalism. I think that's a very interesting observation.
Napoleon, 1812, owned everything from Madrid to Moscow, including Madrid and Moscow. How? The power of nationalism, the power of telling somebody they were superior.
I don't know how that happened anyway, but it's fine. I was wanting to show you this display capture, but anyway, it's okay. But yes, so that's Dr. Casagrande. Let me try and see if I can't put a link here. I think I'll put a link to his presentation on the description. That series is about, I think it's about 10 parts or 11 parts, if I'm not mistaken, where he talks about World War II. So you go listen to those lectures, you learn about history, because umuntu ukhuluma nani la, and some of you don't understand the history and where it comes from. But it's important to learn about laba bantu laba and what they are up to, because really when you really listen to Casagrande, you realize that he also realizes that actually this thing seems like we are not learning. We keep doing these things over and over and over. And it does make an interesting observation, Uti. We are now again at the point where we might end up in another global configuration, is to call it, which is a world war, because all the things that were happening from the 1800s, because it takes it back to the 1800s. So it's like everything that happened from the 1800s leading up to World War II, we are seeing it happen. You know, so he's an interesting scholar in that way, is that is not fixated on basically regurgitating the accounts and the historical references, but he's able to look at the current world as well and locate it in history with, this looks like, so go learn the history, understand laba bantu abafika la ukuthi they didn't come here just to be our friends, babe nezinto ababezozenza. Understand where they come from, ukuthi kwabona nje bahabantu nje abaneyinkinga ezingapheli futhi indlela nje abaneyinkinga ngayo. It's amazing, because you start to wonder, do they have an inclination towards genocidal conduct? We booze, because it looks like every time kunale nkinga yokuthi laba are going to get involved in some global warfare somewhere, somehow. And
way that transformed it and made it something that other people saw was Napoleon Bonaparte.
To the doctor here.
So Napoleon Bonaparte was made the dictator of the Republic of France for the sole purpose of ending the French Revolution. Because the French Revolution was this magic event that they couldn't turn off. So even after they won, they'd killed all the royalty, they'd killed all the nobility. Even after they had changed their art, changed the dates of the names of the months, changed over to metric, changed their religion because they had banned the Catholic Church. Even after they had done all of this, they couldn't turn the revolution off. And the French revolutionary leaders kept walking out into the public squares in Paris and going, look, you've won, we've done it. The revolution's over. Go back into the factories, go back into the farms, and start making shoes and growing food so that our economy doesn't collapse. And the French people would go, revolution! And they'd go charging around and they'd guillotine somebody and set something on fire. And the French revolutionary leaders are like, no, it's over, we won. You don't have to do that anymore. And the French people are like, revolution! And they'd grab that guy, guillotine him, and set something on fire, and they're tearing their hair out. Finally, the French came up with a genius idea. Beautiful. The French have their moments. You know what I mean? Like there are these moments. What if we guillotined the guy in charge of the guillotining? Robespierre. Like, I swear, I really just wish they had cell phones back there so that we could have recorded the look on Robespierre's face as they're loading him into the guillotine. Because I want to know what that emotion you're feeling. Dude, I'm the guy who guillotines. Why am I getting guillotined? How is this okay? And they're loading him in, and then he can hear the blade coming down, right? It just takes a split second, but still he can hear it. And the next thing you know, his head's in a basket. And then the French revolutionary leadership goes, see, the revolution's over. We just guillotined Robespierre, it's done, we're good. And the French are like, revolution! And they go guillotine somebody else and set something else on fire. So Napoleon is elected dictator, temporarily suspending the republic. He'll rule like a king for 1 year. His goal is to end the revolution. He fails. He comes back to the revolutionary leadership and he goes, I need a second year. I figured out how to do it. They're like, okay, sure. So they give him a second year. By the way, that's a big mistake. Don't ever do that. If you're ever in a situation where a dictator is asking for a year term, say no. Be polite about it. Guillotine him. Whatever it takes. Don't let him do it. Anyway, they let him do it. Here's what Napoleon does. He gets up in front of French people, and I'm oversimplifying and I'm summarizing, but right, this is essentially what he does. He says, do you know why we just had the most amazing revolution in human history? And it was an amazing revolution. There's no two ways about it. They changed the way they did art. They switched to metric. First country on earth to do it. He says that revolution was possible because you are French. Because you are French, you are of superior human stock than anybody else on the planet. In other words, that revolution was only possible for the French. Which is really sad if you're Polish, or German, or Spanish, or Egyptian, or Turkish, or English, because you'll never be able to have a revolution like this. So it's our duty as superior French people to export our revolution. All of a sudden, all that revolutionary fervor that they couldn't stamp out forms into armies, and the next thing they know, they're invading Italy, they're invading Germany, they're attacking Austria, they're attacking Prussia, they're invading and conquering Spain, they're invading Egypt. They go on a 17-year-long rampage. And at one point, Napoleon, 1812, owned everything from Madrid to Moscow, including Madrid and Moscow. How? The power of nationalism. The power of telling somebody they were superior to everybody else. He had awakened this monster that was there all.
Yeah, no. You go and you give time to these lectures. I've been to part 1 and part 2. Very long lectures. I think almost 2 hours. And there's 11 of them just on the World War II and how it came to pass. But as you can see, from what he's saying, I've been saying all along, these people are not all right. They're right, labantu. And their interest is always going to be about their own nation. And this is why I keep saying to you, Guti, it's not because bayanzonda or anything like that. No, they just feel that they're superior. And they will keep on feeling they're superior because so there were consistent exchanges in Europe. Because as much as he's talking about the French now imposing their own superiority on everyone in nationalism, owning the entire Europe basically and parts of Africa, So, he will tell you more about Napoleon Bonaparte. I think it does have a too long hour lecture about Napoleon Bonaparte, the French guy there. But it didn't end there, because soon after Bonaparte was done, another section of Europe wanted to do a domination. Another part wanted to be, and that's your British Empire. Your British Empire comes after that now, also wanting to dominate everyone. And it goes into detail what the British Empire was up and about doing. And in every world war, the British are extremely integral, and seemingly they always want these wars. And he talks about why the British celebrated the First World War, because for them it was a time or a chance to deal with the emerging Germanic navy, because the Germans were showing up to be much more capable than them. So they didn't want the Germans to defeat them and have a better navy than. So these are the exchanges that are going on in European countries because everybody feels like they need to be superior to some other people. So it shouldn't be a surprise to any African anywhere why there's this mindset towards them. And you see that it's every European country that has that particular mindset to Africa, because they literally sat in the Berlin Conference in the 1884, I think, even 1888. They sat down and they divided up Africa amongst themselves, and they went on to exploit Africa and pillage and rob and extract whatever resources they could free of charge. To this day, they're still doing the same thing. No African country came out and says, you know what, we are going to Europe, we're going to sort this out. It sent a bunch of tanks, sent a bunch of warships. No, nothing. So they will continue being how they are because we have never engaged them in any battle. We have never been involved in armaments raids in anyone, trying to prove that we are superior. We are not those kind of people. We are just not that type of, because I'm telling you, asinayo lento yokuthi ke sifuna ukubukela abanye abantu phansi, So I guess it also stands to reason why when we go through the white system of education, then we tend to acquire these attributes of prestige and looking down on other people who don't have. I guess the spirit is carried through even in the education. There's that thing uthi abantu abangafundile are less than. Said coming straight from the colonizer's mindset of their superiority complex. He calls it nationalism. I'm like, no, but honestly, what it is a superiority complex. They have a supremacy issue, and they are constantly fighting amongst themselves. And we are looking today in Israel, the same thing is happening. And we are working towards the same direction that they were going towards in the First World War and the Second World War. Because seemingly they never learn. Abafundi. I don't know how. They just never learn. They never learn.
Along, because nations thousands of years. It wasn't like he invented nations. He just framed it in such a way that all of a sudden he filled his soldiers with this fanatical desire to slaughter. Up until then, people just wanted to kill because you worship the wrong imaginary friend. Right? Now all of a sudden, they want to kill you because, well, you're not French. That French army went through Germany back and forth and back and forth. And sometimes it was retreating. Sometimes it was coming back with a glorious victory. But those Germans felt like they were trampled. They felt like they were just run over by the French army over and over and over again. And it planted the seed of nationalism. The Germans began to think in the same way that the French were thinking, which was, I am superior to everybody else because I am German. That's the toxicness of nationalism. If you believe you're superior, that means then literally everybody else is inferior. There is no form of nationalism that doesn't dehumanize the other. It doesn't exist. Like you're like, no, I'm a nationalist and I don't do that. That's BS. If you're a nationalist, you think everybody else on the planet is subhuman. And the only group that you think is fully human is your group. It's different from patriotism. If I say I'm a patriot, it means I love my country. I can love my country and not hate your country. I can love my country and enjoy its culture and its traditions and its blue bonnets or whatever national flower it is, right? And not want to go to your country and murder all of you. But if you're a nationalist, you should go to that country and murder them. They're subhuman. You're making the human species better by killing them. See? And like hell, you're going to let your daughter or your son mate with those subhuman creatures. And what if that happens? Oh, How will you ever overcome that, having these little half-breed freaks running around? That's the problem with nationalism. But it's the seed Napoleon planted. I have a love-hate relationship with Napoleon. At some level, I really think he's amazing. At another level, I'm like, oh, I hate you so much. Also, he was ethnically Italian, and so it tugs at my nationalism. My Italian.
Yeah, but anyway. So go look at his lectures, Dr. Roy Kosagrande. I'll put it in the link in the description, so you can learn something. Because I don't want us to talk together, singazwani ukuthi sithini, because that's the issue that we often have here. Is that I will talk about something. And you don't have background on it, and then you are surprised, or maybe you think, this guy, hey, it's too harsh. No, that's not what I'm saying. Even abelungu, they know. Njengekhuluma nje umlungu, uyasho umlungu la, bayazi nabo, bayazi inkinga ababhekene nayo, bayazazi ukuthi bayabantu abanjani, but we don't take time to learn about them. We are so trusting and loving to people that we really need to be careful around. I ain't shooting team. I'm just saying that as a people, let us have a better understanding of where we are. We are not in a place where there's friends for us. So share lap. I'll probably have to put this in a member section, because I don't think YouTube will appreciate some of these comments. We tend to not like anything that is pro-African. Anyway, have a good afternoon. I don't think I'll be doing a Sunday sermon class. I have to go and hustle somewhere. Amitaba.